you with Rita Campbell, tape 2. Let's just clear up the sort of people that lived in the district. What sort of work did the people that lived in the district do?
Oh, now then.
What types of people were they?
Working class. Oh, yes. I think there was a postman. I don't know what Mr. Haddon did or Mr. Checkley. I think he used to drive. I don't know really what they did, love. No. And then we were about 2 from the corner, and you went round the corner, and you went the length of that garden, do you understand? Then there was the next street of houses. And their garden came along the back of ours, do you see? And my first boyfriend, Reg Hammond, I'll never forget Reg Hammond. Reg Hammond, we used to, over the fence and things, old Reg and I. And he learnt the violin. Am I on tape? Oh dear. Well, I'm sorry.
Go on.
He was learning the violin. Oh, I had a great something. Oh yes, great Reg. And I used to come into musical evenings, and we used to go there sometimes. Wow. And my mother used to encourage him to, play this violin. And and then he got very sort of, you know how boys do when they're about 11 or 12, he thought he was the cat's whiskers, scraping this. But I thought he was marvellous. Oh dear. They were at the bottom of the garden. He had an elder brother. Then he had a sister which put his nose out of joint. She was spoiled. Oh, terrible.
In your family, who did the punishing of you?
No one did, only my father tried. I was a very self-willed, great trial to them, I think, love. I had a terrible I'm spoiled to death, you see. No, I don't ever remember being punished.
So what happened if you misbehaved?
I'd probably I don't think I misbehaved. I don't know. I never remember being smacked. I never remember being punished. The only time I ever remember, and that was in Millman Road, so I must have been before I was about 7, jumping up and down on my parents' double bed, up and down, my father at the end of the bed saying, "Now dear, now calm down dear, now dear, now just calm down."
Did you take any notice?
Well, I must have calmed down, I suppose, but I can remember that. Oh no, I was a terrible trial to my parents, really. I was a very, very self-willed child.
You mentioned earlier off tape about your father taking you to sports meetings.
Yeah.
Tell me about that again.
Oh, well, we always went to the boat race. For many years we went to the boat race. We went to the odd... I think I went to Lord's, with them, because we weren't too far from Lord's, or from the Oval. It was either one or the other once or twice to see.
I actually meant that the sports he used to take you to, which you ran in.
Oh, well, they were the church, they were the Sunday school sports and the school sports. You see, well... I don't think either of them my parents could get to them because they were both working in the, But he wanted to know if I won or not or what, yes, and he always sort of, told me what to do and things like that.
What did he say to you?
Oh, well, he always said, now get a good start, my girl, get a good start and never look behind you, keep going. I used to tell Sally Ann the same thing when she was running, Oh, dear. Oh, no, he was always interested in anything, yeah. And boxing, he used to like boxing matches. And of course, there was no TV or anything, you see. Oh, no, and then when, of course, when the Aussies came over to play, big test matches and things, only in the paper could you get a result, and he used to, avidly read the cricket news and all that, and then he used to talk to me about, well, so-and-so, she's got 100 runs and something, and I said, he treated me a lot like a son, really, which he never had, unfortunately.
Were you good at sport?
Yes, the only thing I was good at, yes. Yes, I was captain of the rounders team in one of the schools I went to, yeah. Yes, the only thing I was good at, love.
And you mentioned your mother, and in fact the whole side of that family was keen on music.
Yes.
Did you play a musical instrument?
I learnt the piano. My mother tried to teach me earlier on, but of course that didn't go down at all. I argued with her and, wouldn't learn. And so I had teachers. I learnt for about 7 years, but I never got far. I wouldn't practice much, for one thing. I think that I didn't worry too much because my mother could always play if it was necessary, No, I never really took to. I could only just do, strum around. Mm.
And in your childhood, what sort of toys did you have?
I had a teddy bear, which I loved. I had a very nice doll, which my godfather, who was a Scotsman, Andrew Hasty, I think he was a family friend, I don't know where they raked him up from, he sent from Scotland. But I wasn't a dolly person at all, not really, but I did like this doll, and I loved my teddy bear. I had drawing books, and mostly I had this hoop and a skipping rope, which all the kids, you had to have one of that, and a top, and balls, stacks of balls, big balls, we used to chuck balls.
A spinning top?
Yeah, a spinning top, like a wooden top that you wound your thing round and then it span, And then once I had a humming top, and you went like this up and down with it, and it hummed as it went round, Mm. And then, of course, my pride and joy was my scooter. When I was a bit older, I had this scooter. Used to skate all around the streets, with the other kids. And hoop. We used to knock nearly all the old ladies flying. And then when I got old enough, I had a bike, which was my pride and joy. Mm.
Did you take the teddy to bed?
I don't remember ever taking anything to bed, no. No, I wasn't a very clucky child at all, no. No.
How did you occupy your leisure time?
Well, you see, in those days, Saturdays, we could go into this park. I mean, in those days, you could go in, a pack of kids could go, you weren't molested, or there were park keepers around, the gardeners, you would call them. But I mean, you could go, there was a big grassy area and trees, like a park. We used to play cricket, and we used to play rounders, and we used to play skipping and running and all sorts of games like that with the other kids around. Yeah, we were lucky. See, you could go out. A kid could go out, and it wouldn't. Really, there was no fear of it. You never really heard of any child being. Really, I've never heard of it. Although once I remember we were coming home from school, this girl and I, what was her name? Doris Durrant. Coming home through the park from school, this Queen's Park, and there was this man sitting on the seat, you see. And we were just walking by. Well, he'd exposed himself, And that's the only incident I ever remember in my childhood. And we sort of took one look, and rushed past like lunatics. I think we ran all the way home. I don't know whether I ever told my mother or anybody about that, I don't know, but I remember that well. But we weren't molested. He was only sitting there, you know.
So how aware of you were you of sexuality and
Oh,
reproduction and that
no,
type of thing?
no, nothing at all, love. No.
So how did you discover about menstruation and
Oh, well, yes, my mother told me about that. Oh, yes, yeah, my mother told me about. A lot of the girls didn't know, but yes, she was very forward like that. Oh, yes, she told me about that. But not about sex or anything. No, not really. No. I learnt most of it from your father before I got married. He knew more than me. I didn't even know what a homosexual was or a lesbian till I was married. Never heard of them. Never heard of it. No. Never heard of it, love.
And did you have pets at all?
Only cats. Couldn't keep dogs in weren't allowed dogs, you see, in flats. Whereas we had cats, a succession of cats. And, yeah. They used to, you know, come in and out the garden, and yeah, but that's all, just a cat.
And when you were small, any special friends?
Well, I had Reg. Yeah, we all used to go in a group, you know, yeah. Yes, all sort of, you know, like a group together. The neighbours' kids, you know, Reg and the kids, boys and girls. And then the boys had roller skates, you know, they used to show off on their roller skates, and the boys used to show off to the girls and the girls to the boys, you know, yeah. Oh, I had one or two sort of friends, yeah, but no one terribly special, I suppose, no.
And did you have chores to do?
No.
Nothing.
Only if I felt like it. I was never asked or told, and I don't think I ever washed or wiped a cup up, no. I was just terrible childhood I had.
What about hobbies?
Well, I don't know whether I had a lot of time for hobbies, love. I was a great reader. Always was a great reader. I could learn. Yes, I always read books. Yes, I like to read. But see, it was a very full day, love. If you were at school, I mean, you got up, you had to get to school, and then I had a bit of homework. We had homework, not a lot, but I had home. By the time you got home and had a... See, I used to go back after school to the post office. Then when the post office shut at 7 o'clock at night, we used to have to walk home. Well, I did my homework at Grandma's while I was waiting for my dad and Mum. Did my homework, and I might have had a sandwich and a cup of tea or something there when I got it. But then they were hungry because they had nothing since sort of lunchtime, more or less, and I don't think they always cared for what Grandma dished up. So often there was perhaps they might do steak or sausages or something quick, you know, bacon and eggs or a bit of fish or something, you see. So, I mean, it was 7:30, 8 o'clock before we even got home. And then they had to get ready to do that and get ready for the next day, 9 o'clock opening at the post office. And they often, they used to leave for work sometimes before I left for school.
You got yourself off to school?
Well, I was almost ready, yeah.
Tell me, describe for me a typical day, right from when you got up in the morning.
Well, what time of my life, love? It varies.
As a child at school?
Well, I went to about 4 schools. You know, I mean, but the last school I went to was the convent. And I was there for that necessitated a bike ride.
So you were all still sleeping in the same bedroom?
No. Well, by that time, yeah, only 1 bedroom flat we had, but then we had to put you up in the lounge, you see. Yeah.
So what time would the family get up?
Well, They had to be at the post office. Whether they had it themselves or not, I don't think they did sometimes. But I mean, they always tried to make me have a decent breakfast. Yeah. And I wouldn't always have it. I remember, but I didn't, you know. Yeah, they wouldn't.
And did you have a packed lunch?
Yeah, when I went to the convent. No. When I went to the convent, I used to cycle home to Granny's, to Grandma's, and have a meal, if you could call it a meal, you see, with them. First, my mother used to come up. Well, Dad minded the office. And then he used to go back and relieve her, and then he'd come up and have his. So I had about 3/4 of an hour at home, and then I used to have to cycle back to school.
And you mentioned being an avid reader. What sort of books did you read?
Oh, adventure stories and most things what kids read, you know. Yeah, mostly adventure stories, sort of Enid Blyton type of things, but it wasn't Enid Blyton in those days. Oh yes, what was it? I liked Little Women and Good Wives. I loved that, I remember, when I was getting a bit older, I suppose.
And did you have any outings as a complete family?
And not very many, no, not as that, no. I can't ever remember having a holiday. We used to have outings, as I say, we get on the bus to Catford or Croydon for a whole day on a Sunday. Start early and get back quite late, and I was fit for nothing Monday morning. That was the only outing. They couldn't have the only holiday I ever remember having together, 1 or 2 Easters, we went down to Mersey for a long weekend. That's a place near Colchester where they spent their honeymoon. And my grandma used to go down there once or twice to a little place. That was early on. But that Easter was a big break, you see, so they managed 2 or 3 days there. But I can never remember ever having a holiday with them. They couldn't have one, love. We didn't have the money anyway. No.
What about birthdays? What happened on your birthday?
Oh, well, I usually was asked what I wanted, and they'd try and get it for me, you know. I wanted this scooter, and I wanted a hoop one year, I suppose, a skipper rope another year, and one thing another. Yes, they always tried to, because I was spoilt, really. They always tried to get me even though they can probably, you know, yeah.
Did you have a party?
No, I don't remember having a party. No, not as a kid. No. I think so.
Would you get gifts?
Oh, when I was older, I think I did, because you get asked to other kids, and then I think they had to do something, yeah.
And what sort of things would you eat at a birthday party?
Oh, more or less the same as you do now. Well, they used to have jelly and blancmange and little sandwiches, more or less what they have now, really.
And what about Christmas? How did you celebrate Christmas?
Christmas Day we usually spent at home because, you see, transport and things, you couldn't go very far. I don't know whether we had a Christmas, but Boxing Day we always went to a relation, either to Catford or Croydon or somewhere. And we all had a sort of a Christmas meal, and that was really the Christmas, spent Boxing Day with. But Christmas Day was quiet at home usually, because you couldn't move much, you see. We didn't have cars or anything like that.
Did you hang up a stocking?
Yes, pillowcase. But I mean, it's only little things in it. You know, just sort of small sort of things, books, a few. Drawing books I like, and I used to like drawing in dots, and thick pencil case for school, and new pencils, and perhaps some clothing, you know, a pair of slippers or nightie or you know, things like that.
And did you write a list to Father Christmas?
Yes, I think I did, and put it up the chimney. But it was all very mild. I mean, not quite like they want now, love. They were very mild, my wants.
Did you believe in Father Christmas?
Oh, yes, I did. I must have done, yes, I did. I think it was Reg that disillusioned me, this bloke. He was a bit older than me.
Did you have any little rituals like leaving a drink for Father Christmas?
No, I don't think so. Can't ever remember doing that. No. But I remember being very excited and waking up and going down the bottom of the bed and feeling with your toe, you could feel this scrunchy papers and pillows about 4 o'clock in the freezing morning, Mm.
And did the family go to church at Christmas?
No. Oh, well, I think that my mother and father didn't, but I probably did. Sunday school. We probably all went into the church for a carol service and, like Sunday schools do, joined in with the or something. Yes. But they didn't know.
And did the larger family exchange Christmas presents? The extended family?
No, I don't think so. And I used to go to my father and say, what can I get Mum for Christmas? And go to my mum and say, what can I get Dad for Christmas? And she used to have to give me sixpence, and he used to give me sixpence or something. And I'd buy one a bar of chocolate and the other one a hanky or something, But they never used to give presents to each other. No.
Weddings. Did you ever go to weddings as a child?
Well, I did when these 2 brothers of my father were married, but then I was so small. It was just after the First World War, and I was only about 5, you see, and I don't really remember them, although I've got a picture of them. But I do know, I can see now, that I had this outfit. God knows where my mother got it from. She must have had it given to her, because we never had any new clothes, hardly. It was a leopard skin, a spotted leopard skin. You can see it in the picture. Little coat, and a little hat with ribbon round it, but this leopard skin, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it, and all the boys used to say, "Oh, here comes Spotty Leopard." I hated it. But I had to wear it apparently to this wedding. You see, and so yes, but I don't remember them. I was too young. I don't remember them. No. I don't think I went to any more weddings. I can't remember any more weddings. No, or funerals. No.
And childhood accidents.
Well, I suppose I was very lucky, really. Fell off my back several times, because I had, grazed my shins. But I had measles, of course, and chicken pox, and I think I had whooping cough. But I can remember, I think it was when I had measles, or what might have been, I must have been getting on a bit then. See, I had Auntie Kate till I was about 6, and she got me through a lot of the childhood ailments. She was with me all day, of course, because I hadn't started school. But I must have had measles when I was a bit older, and both my parents were working in the post office, and they both needed to be there, and I know I was left alone in the flat for a long time every day. My father used to come back and do something for my lunch and go off again, and I think a neighbour used to look in, but I know I was left quite, because they couldn't do anything about it.
How old would you have been then?
I don't know, I must have been about 8 or 9, I suppose, then.
Did you have things like the tooth fairy?
Oh, God, oh dear, no. That's reminding me of something I've forgotten for years. Some of my first teeth went crook. I suppose I don't know whether I had a lot of lollies, or I couldn't tell you. They didn't know teeth care, although I always had a toothbrush and, supposed to clean, but anyway. So Dr. Clark, dear old Dr. Clark, recommended this dentist. And so off we went, my mother and I, to see this dentist. on her afternoon off, a half day or so. Oh yes. Oh well, she needs some out because the second ones are coming and they're not going to be right unless you have these out. Right. So a day and a time was made, you see. And after another week or whatever it was, off we went again to get these teeth out. Well, I was a very nervous child. I can always remember I wore a woolly hat with a white with a red pom-pom. I can always remember that. Well, we had to walk through Queen's Park to this fella's. Got there, sat in the chair. He proceeded to want to give me gas or whatever it was, I don't know. So I up with me and kicked him right with both feet.
In a personal spot?
Yeah. My mother said, was he livid? He said, don't ever bring that child near me. Poor soul, she had to creep out with her tail between her legs and this dreadful child, you know.
What happened about your teeth?
Back she went to Dr. Clark. I don't know what she would have done without Dr. Clark. I wouldn't be here today. Told him the tale. He brought me into the world, you know. Yeah. Highly strung. Yeah. Well, never mind. We'll do it on your kitchen table. I'll make it all right, don't you worry. So a couple of Sunday mornings after that, Dr. Clark comes along with this dentist. I'm laid out on the kitchen table at home, which is scrubbed and got a clean sheet over it. And Dr. Clark gives me the anaesthetic and the dentist pulls my teeth out. And the next I know, I'm back in my bed. And my father hovering around. And I said, I'm going to be sick. And he just got the thing there in time, and I was sick because they swallow all the blood, you see. So that was the end of the dentist. And I never went again until I was, I don't know, pretty well in my teens anyway.
This is the second interview session held with Rita Campbell at her home on Saturday the 6th of August 1994. Right, last time you didn't know the year of birth of your parents. I don't suppose that's come to you in...
Oh, well, no, I could look it up for you, Heather, but I forgot to.
We'll put it on later.
Yeah, if you make a little note, I'll look it up for you.
Right. Memories of maternal aunts and uncles. When we were talking about that, we talked about Uncle Walter and Louise, but we didn't talk about Jack, Alfie and Dot. Have you any memories of Jack for a start?
No, he'd passed away before he passed away, love. I don't, whether before I was born or just I never knew Jack. No.
What about Alfie?
Oh yes, Alfie was was the youngest son, and he was the most prosperous. He had a harness, he went into the harness and saddle making. So did Walter, actually. Both were apprenticed. He opened a shop at Croydon, did very well. And